So season 1 of Gen V just ended, and we gotta say it was a pretty damn good first season. We got introduced to a whole bunch of new characters, new villains, new supes, and new potential story arcs right before season 4 of The Boys. So naturally, we have some questions we want to ask. Obligatory spoiler alert warning if you haven't watched Gen V or The Boys yet.
Especially relevant now that we've learned that The Boys season 4 premiere takes place just a couple days after Homelander committed some more heinous crimes.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing where Gen V fits in timeline-wise helps us have a lot more context going into The Boys Season 4. But anyways, let's get started with our biggest questions following this first season of Gen V, starting with, is Sam the new Black Noir? See, before Gen V started, we put out a video titled 4 Biggest Questions for Gen V, and one of our main questions was, who would take over as the new Black Noir? Black Noir's death at the hands of Homelander has been kept relatively hidden by Vought, and since Noir never takes off his mask, only a handful of people even know what he looks like. This creates an obvious opportunity for Vought to find another supe to wear the Black Noir costume and go about business as usual. Vought is obviously all about profits, and replacing an established supe brings far more financial risks than just keeping things the same. And with the way season 1 of Gen V ends, it's fair to wonder if Vought decides to pick Sam as a Black Noir replacement. Based on the flashes we've seen, Sam's strength level and durability is good enough to put him in the 7. Dude also has an insane vertical leap. But beyond the fighting abilities, Sam also suffers from visions and hallucinations, just like the OG Black Noir from The Boys. When recalling the traumatic scenes involving Soldier Boy, Black Noir has to lean on Buster Beaver and friends to get him through it. Sam's experienced some wild visions himself, with the gruesome puppet scene being one of the most memorable examples. It also seems like his brother Golden Boy is a recurring angel on his shoulder type of character that Sam always sees whenever he's in a moral dilemma, except ultimately he doesn't listen to Big Bro.
We also saw this weird new side of Sam during the final 2 episodes where he gets radicalized and turns into a huge asshole at a pretty rapid pace.
You're not a hero.
He's PTSD ridden, incredibly unstable, although, we thought he was a nice guy at one point.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yes.
This presents some obvious difficulties if you're going to bump him into the 7. It presents even more difficulty if you're going to turn him into the new Black Noir, because Black Noir was thought of as this, destructive but also capable of creeping around and not really making a sound type of dude who is in full control of his faculties. Another strike on the Black Noir side is that the public already knows who this dude is, so there's a chance that he's just his own entity aside from Black Noir, and it would be tough to be able to kind of take him out of the limelight and place him into an anonymous role. If he's not Black Noir, he'll just be used as a figurehead to highlight the mistreatment of supes due to his stint in the woods. And then on the other side of the political spectrum, the thought on pretty much everyone's minds is that it would be a huge equalizer for Butcher and the boys to rescue the Suicide Squad meets Fantastic Four. We got trapped in that creepy ass hospital with no doors. We've got a loaded squad down here, honestly, which then of course raises the possibility of some type of mega battle in season 4. Marie and the others have some serious chops. Her powers are now on a whole other level. Since Neuman feels so powerful and imposing, it would be a huge help to have a counterpart on Butcher's side. With The Boys season 4 starting up a couple days after the massacre, I feel like we'll hear about these guys mostly through news broadcasts, propaganda bulletins, and eventually the news will get spilled to Butcher one way or the other. There's also an off chance this shifts in the direction of Neuman, but we're going to touch on that a bit later on.
Yeah, and speaking of shifts, what happens now with the future of Godolkin and Vought? The beautiful but soup-hating Indira Shetty is now deady, so who will now be the new Dean of Godolkin? And better yet, is Homelander involved in the selection of the new Dean? Normally you'd assume that the execs at Vought would be the ones in charge of this type of stuff, but with the way Gen V ended, we have no idea how Vought will be run moving forward. Remember, Ashley and the entire Vought board of trustees were in that helicopter and almost died at the hands of the rogue supes. Marie saved them, but Homelander wasn't happy about that and lasered Marie in the stomach. So what does this mean now for Ashley and the other board members? Clearly Homelander didn't give a fuck if they died, so moving forward, does he just take over full control of Vought for himself, or does he keep Ashley around as a figurehead? These decisions will also affect Godolkin as well.
Yeah, and to even get to that point, did they just agree to call it even since Homelander could kill them whenever he wants to, and they could also tank Vought if they leak some information?
Fucking Christ! I'm putting down my next movie!
Because it seems highly unlikely they'd talk under the threat of this. He may also have just killed them. I mean, who really knows? There are witnesses, but maybe Homelander just goes full conspiracy cover-up mode. I don't know if he can just pull the incredibly fucked up maneuver from the plane in this kind of situation due to the location and because of the fact that these are mostly supes out here. A bunch of people are in locked rooms and didn't have any footage due to the internet and network bullshit, but I feel like at least a couple dozen more supes were around on campus to witness this. However, one thing that did get out before the network crash was the live stream of the social media dude killing himself, and it's going to be very hard to argue that it wasn't Kate who made him carry that out due to her power set. None of the 4 who were tossed into that creepy ass hospital room could ever have pulled that off. Homelander is going to have a lot of work to do to keep this one under wraps. It was dope to see them returning to analyzing the propaganda engine that is Vought during Gen V. These guys are sickos, but this is a substantial risk that could come back to ruin shit for him, which is good because someone needs to stop this man. Like, why didn't they just let Soldier Boy do his thing? Because now this guy might be president someday. Just kidding, but kind of seriously. He's made a huge power play to seize on the momentum of the January 6th-like presence of his support. Nationalism being cooked up by Fox News knockoff Cam Coleman is boiling. If he somehow gets this over the goal line, everyone's fucked. Just wait till he's got a weird-ass pseudo-family composed of Sam, Kate, and sociopath-in-training young Ryan roaming the White House.
Let's end this discussion with one more villain, Victoria motherfucking Neuman. What is her ultimate goal? Yes, we know she's bad and she's killed a lot of people. Her powers are obviously terrifying, and of course she wants more power and influence, but what does she actually want to do with her power?
Yeah, for all the messed up shit she's done, her character is still pretty ambitious at a time where we're slowly piecing together what she's all about and what her aims are.
We know that Neuman cares about her family, especially her daughter Zoe, but it's hard to tell how she really feels about supes. On one hand, her platform as a congresswoman involves fighting against superhero corruption, and by all accounts, she's taken a pretty negative stance on Vought publicly, but privately, we're still unclear on where she actually stands. After all, she did inject her own daughter with Compound V, and she has no problem using her own powers to get what she wants. When Dr. Cardosa tells her about the supe-destroying virus, she takes it and explodes his head. What's her angle? Is she potentially saving the virus as a weapon against Homelander? Maybe she wants to use her blood-based powers to figure out a potential antidote to keep herself protected before unleashing on the rest of Vought's supes. Either way, she's gonna be one of the main villains moving forward, and her true intentions are still unclear.
Exactly. Is she gonna want to free Marie and friends? Now that Butcher knows she's, well, she does that.
Just to make your opening.
I don't see her working with him. She could also just turn on Marie for political reasons, since these 4 are being framed for precisely who Neuman was actually pissed at, in a sort of roundabout way. Since she has the virus, she's got the ultimate trump card and doesn't have to press at the moment. Her and Marie's powers start as pretty meh, but then quickly become this ultimate cheat code. The big difference being that Marie is mostly reasonable and that Neuman has this look that can sometimes only be described as female Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, she's definitely scary as fuck. Anyways, that does it for our questions after season 1 of Gen V. Very excited for The Boys season 4. Catch y'all later.